Hello, I'm Julie Gardner. I'm the executive producer of Doctor Who.
I'm Gareth Roberts and I wrote this episode, the Shakespeare Code.
I'm Charlie Palmer and I directed it.
Now, Gareth, the Shakespeare Code wasn't the original title. What was it first called?
I think we called it Love's Labour's 1 to start off with.
And why did you change it?
I think, I remember we were all quite enthusiastic about it, and then one day Russell and you and I looked at each other and said it's a bit uninteresting.
Bit
sounding.
worthy,
Bit worthy,
a bit too
yeah.
academic. So we went a bit Da Vinci Code, didn't we?
Yeah.
Now, Charlie, where was this scene? Was this location set? Talk us through what you did here.
This was about 3 different places. One half of it was in Warwick. This bit was in Warwick. Another bit of it was a matte painting, and another bit of it was a street somewhere else. So 3 different places, and in the studio as well. Yeah.
Because, of course, you had the luxury of being able to film away from our base, because we do probably 5 days outside of Wales, which is London and occasionally elsewhere. And so you got Warwick for Shakespeare.
Yes, all of them on episode 2. Yes, it was fantastic.
Were those days particularly pressurised because you had to cram lots in?
They were, and we had wonderful weather, which we were all a bit nervous about. No, I know. No.
So, look, here we have the first transformation. Wonderful prosthetics, as always.
Brilliant.
Who was on set doing this? Was that Rob or from Millennium?
I think it was Rob,
Effects?
yes. And they were wonderful. And the girls playing the witches were very patient.
So that's Millennium Effects, which is Neil Gorton, who's been on the show since the start for us. And they had special teeth fittings?
They did. The wonderful Christina Cole.
It's always the teeth and the eyes, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times we've had
Very
problems
important.
with actors wearing coloured contact lenses, or it's always that. Ray, how do you feel watching it back, you two?
I had to watch it before today, otherwise I think I would have got a bit emotional.
Well, we're hoping
At the
you're going to
moment.
still cry, Gareth.
I might cry any moment now.
Charlie, how many times have you now seen it?
I've seen it hundreds and hundreds of times, and I got very close to it and couldn't see the wood for the trees. And then I went to the final mix a few days ago and thought, it's really all right, this.
That's the first final mix I've ever missed on Doctor Who. I was miserable the whole day. I couldn't be there. It sounds great. So Martha's first journey.
Yeah.
What's it like shooting on the interior TARDIS, Charlie? Is it a boy's dream for you?
It is a boy's dream. I had a kind of moment when I was working out how I was going to shoot the scenes on the TARDIS, and I thought, I'm on the TARDIS set. This is great.
Are there any particular problems shooting on that set?
Not really. There's lots of space. There's never enough time, but you know that, Julie, of course.
Oh, he's threatening me already.
No, it's a super set to work on.
So this again is Warwick. This is our
Warwick.
street.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how easy is the exterior TARDIS? It's not. Is that easy to transport around? Oh,
It takes longer to move than you think it's going to. But it seems fairly easy. There's about 4 or 5 guys move it around.
because it's on wheels, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. No modern technology there.
None whatsoever.
Gareth, how many drafts of the script did you write?
Oh, blimey, I think it was about 8 or 9. All kinds of changes and things happening all the time. I think we had the actual basic plot, the sort of beginning, middle and end worked out right from almost the very beginning,
Yeah, we
actually.
did, I think.
Which was good, because it gives you more time to fiddle about with everything else. Tune it up.
But you were quite kind of erudite, as I remember. If I could throw a big word in there, you were very well up on your Shakespeare and your quartos and your folios and the lost plays.
I got into all that. Funnily enough, I mean, years after I left school and anything like that, I just sort of taught myself, really. I think the thing that got me going was I saw a Shakespeare production on TV that had subtitles underneath.
Right.
And I think if anyone can't understand it and wants to, that's the way to do it, because it just suddenly comes alive for you.
Beautiful matte painting
That's
by the Mill.
amazing.
I mean, instantly you've just got such scale. And we had to push this shot down, didn't we, Charlie?
We
Because
did.
on early shots, the globe was quite foreground.
It was a little bit too close, wasn't it?
So we moved it back. It's beautiful. Lighting's beautiful.
Does look great.
Who is your DOP?
Ernie Vince doing wonderful work, as always.
Beautiful work. He's gone into a bit of a transport here, hasn't he? Look, he's kind of... Charlie's gone.
It looks great. It looks great. And this shot, we talked about
So
for weeks and weeks and weeks. It took 3 days on a green screen stage. No more than 50 extras, I think, we had.
So how do you do that? What's the green screen element?
We did some of it in the studio. We did some of it at the Globe with no extras at all, just the principal actors standing on the stage. And then Dave Houghton and the visual effects team at the Mill measured all the angles and then replicated them in a green screen studio. And it was a very complicated shot, but I pushed and pushed and pushed for it. And
it pays off so well.
Phil Collinson agreed and also pushed for it, and I think it's lovely.
And you literally have a green screen and you move your groups of extras around, don't
yeah,
you? In blocks.
In blocks. And I think 50 extras they had, and they had protractors and inclinometers and all sorts of things to work out all the angles and the distances and everything. And as always with visual effects, you don't notice it when it's there, when it's finished.
So here we have Dean Lennox Kelly. I love the casting of Shakespeare. It's so surprising, and he's a little bit rock and roll, isn't he?
He is. He's rock star Shakespeare.
Yes.
That's what he wanted, wasn't it?
Sort of effortlessly sexy and restrained.
Ooh. And we always across those 8 drafts of the scripts, we were always talking about Shakespeare in that way, weren't we?
Yeah.
We were struggling a bit about how much learning he would have and what his Achilles heel would be.
Yes.
His grief.
Yeah, I think the problem was, that just you come to write Shakespeare and you think he should say amazing things all the time, and in fact.
And so you have the first amazing line.
Yes, so that was just to overcome that straight away,
It was wonderful, Charlie, filming at the Globe. I just love that. You were there 3 nights?
Yes, it was, again, one of those things when you get there, and it really should be quite terrifying, but you just think, I thought it's just extraordinary that we're here, that we got to film at the Globe.
It meant so much to film that.
It really did, and we were there for 3 nights, and it rained only for about 20 minutes on the last night. I seem obsessed with the weather, but it really was very kind to us.
I came down one night and I just loved it. I absolutely loved it. It was a lovely space to work in. The crew felt very happy and comfortable there. It's just a glorious, glorious space. And we all started going to the theatre. Lots of the crew went. I can't remember what was on, but we all got really carried away with it. It just means so much to be there. Because remember, we almost lost the location.
That's right.
Did you? Oh,
yeah.
You told me that.
No, we thought you might not need to know that at that time. It was absolutely terrifying. About a week before we got in there, we started to have real schedule problems with making it work. And we were literally having to think about, could we relocate to a country house and what would that do? And, some lady's country house with a Shakespeare show.
It would have been such a shame.
Oh, it would have been absolutely catastrophic when you look at the production value from being there.
I'm glad you didn't tell me that.
Yes. Yeah, everyone was a little bit tense. Charlie was very stoic, as I remember. At least in public. I think he was weeping behind, closed doors.
And here we are back at Warwick again, which was a really good location. We walked into it. It was the first place that the location manager took me to.
Really?
And, yeah. And we said yes immediately.
How long does it take costume and makeup to get going on a period show? Because
it does take a lot longer. I always forget how much longer it takes, but there's an awful lot for them to do. And so you try and work it at the beginning of the day. You're not starting with too many actors and too many extras, and they have time. They have to lots of extra personnel come in. But it definitely is slower.
How much, Charlie, and be kind of honest with me, how much did you find it difficult the shooting time on Doctor Who? Is it a particularly tough schedule?
It's. I was talking about it before we came in. I mean, it's not tough for television, but what you have on Doctor Who is visual effects, animatronics, prosthetics, any effects,
Stunts,
explosions, stunts, all that kind of stuff. And so that stuff takes time, and there's health and safety issues. So I mean, it is tough. I mean, it's we have to work quite fast. But I think it's amazing what people achieve on this show.
It's the best production team I've ever worked with.
It really is.
Amazing.
It really is.
And they care about it so much. I mean, it's so weird to be talking about this episode now, where it's February and we're still shooting. We're still shooting episodes 12 and 13, and we're heavily into post at the moment, and publicity and the launch of the series, and also starting to talk about the next year. So Gareth's already thinking about his next episode.
Are we allowed to say that?
We're not allowed to say anything more than that, I think.
Right. Good.
So there's a little clue about what your episode is in episode 13.
Oh, is there? All right.
There is.
Right.
Yeah. Charlie, tell us about this wonderful actor's beard.
This wonderful actor's beard. I was thinking that he is Toby Smith's brother, Maggie Smith's son. That's what I was thinking, but I know nothing about his beard at all.
It's that bushy for the moment he dies. Do you remember?
That's right. No,
I set this up for you.
Set it up,
Honestly, there is a point to why he's got such a bushy beard. Go on, give the game away.
He's got a very bushy beard to hide a lot of pipe work that we're going to see in a moment.
Because I remember making him ginger so he could see the ginger hair on the doll.
Oh, that's
stand out a
clever.
bit.
Of course. But he's about to die in a very grisly way, and we had to hide the pipework to get the water pumping.
Yeah.
We had loads of locations for this scene, as I remember, before she went in that.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, she was all over the place in the script, wasn't she? She was in the toilet at one point.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have been right, would it?
And I remember at script stage, Gareth, endless discussions about Linley and where would he die and how far away had he got from the inn and how could they find him here. We had real geography problems at this point, didn't we?
And in the end, Russell simplified it really, really well to say when he goes out and he comes back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So here's the piping.
Yes, and he does it very well, Chris. It was he had to have water fed into his mouth at a constant rate to spit out. But he obviously quite a horrid thing. So he practiced a lot. It's something I'd find very difficult to do.
Oh God, yeah. How many takes did you do with him?
Not that many, actually. He got it the first time.
I mean, that's horrible.
After the practice, yes. I mean, I'd have found it almost phobic to have to do something like that. But he was terribly good.
I love the grade on all of this. That warmth, that kind of red glow. It's lovely, beautiful. Yeah. We tried to go a bit darker on the witch's house, didn't we? You were worried that it wasn't as scary as it might be. How do you feel about it now?
I think it looks good.
Oh. You make those actors suffer, Charlie. Was it your fault, Gareth? I think it's you, really.
I think it was me,
Poor Charlie was left having to deal with it. You're safe in your writing garret.
Oh, yes.
3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, look what you did to us.
It is funny when you write something and then you think, oh, and then months later you find out how traumatic it was.
Brilliant. I mean, we're trying with the period Doctor Who's to go a bit kind of funky on them. It's a terrible word to use, but I think that's partly why we were wanting to cast Shakespeare and create the character of Shakespeare as kind of quite rock and roll. If you're going to go in the past, you want to give it a particular sensibility, I think, for 7 o'clock on a Saturday.
Yeah, you want to bring out the similarities with today rather than emphasise too many of the differences.
So you've got your earlier scene where they're talking about recycling. I remember loving reading that on the page.
And it is quite similar as well in a way. You know, I think this is, despite the fact they look so different, probably closer than many of the other historical periods that the series has done so far.
I love the emotion behind Shakespeare, though.
It's just, he's just come out with anything, really. It's just, he's just incredibly sensitive and intelligent. I love David's face there.
Isn't he just glorious?
It's just
and
magnificent,
Ray
isn't he,
Freeman.
David?
Ray Freeman, yeah.
Watch him forever.
Completely. What's he like as an actor to work with, Charlie?
He is about as good as it gets.
Oh, I thought you were going to, spill the beans.
No, he's obviously very,
Terrible
very,
man.
very tricky. Lots of hissy fits and doesn't know his lines and all that kind of stuff. But apart from that,
he's extraordinary, isn't he?
He's an absolute
He is the
pro.
most prepared actor I've ever worked with.
Yeah.
I mean, just going to the read-through is a delight. It's
all
extraordinary.
there. It's all detailed at the
He's
read-through,
done
isn't
all
it?
the work. He's thought about it. He works so hard. Amazing. Oh, and wonderful Martha.
This scene we had quite a few different goes at, actually, I think.
Yeah,
didn't it?
what did you go through? What were the choices here? Or the difficulties?
Well, they were originally going to be a bit more unclothed, weren't they? I mean, the Doctor was just going to be completely unself-conscious.
Yeah.
And then we thought it didn't quite work, that he'd just keep his stuff on. Doesn't really
sure,
think about
I'm
things
sure
like
I was
that.
still saying, take it off.
Really? I can't remember.
I can't remember where everyone was lined up.
Yeah. And also, him going to sleep seems wrong. I think it would be all right if he wasn't in terrible danger or worried about something, but
I know, and I think that's
you
what
don't want to see the Doctor asleep, really, do you?
No, I think I did.
you did?
I think I was pushing. I'm completely wrong. Obviously, completely wrong. This is an action adventure series. Of course, he's not going to sleep. But I just there was something lovely about it.
Yeah, maybe.
I remember trying to get that in the Matthew Graham episode, Fear Her,
right,
where they stay
right.
overnight in the house with
Yeah.
Tish. And Ross, of course, was completely right, saying, but no, there's a possessed child, something terrible's going on. I was
Yeah.
like, but wouldn't you want to see... I mean, does he sleep?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going for kitchen sink doctor in that.
Yeah, it is interesting, though. It does keep you wondering, though, not seeing it. This was fun to do.
This is so beautiful, Charlie, how you shot this. Oh.
Oh, I see you talking about the ex.
There's a lot of... I think that's very truthful.
Yeah. I also like it. There's nothing worse than a TV series where you lose a long-running character and nobody mentions them again. I hate that.
It feels very truthful, this.
Yeah.
Spookiness.
Yeah.
There's a pigeon. Look at the pigeon.
Is it a CGI pigeon? Or
It's not. It's a
convenient
real
pigeon.
pigeon.
Right,
We haven't got CGI money for pigeons. Are you mad?
Is that an action figure?
So what are we going into now? Location or set?
This is all a set. We did, in an earlier draft, have her climbing up the wall, didn't we?
Oh, yeah,
Outside.
yeah.
Oh, that's right. We had a big CGI that we had to cut.
This is good, though, isn't it? Look at
Also, you
this.
don't need it. She can fly.
Yeah,
She doesn't need to
completely,
scale up the wall.
exactly.
Yeah. That's great.
It's great the way that works.
That's very well done.
I love this little puppet.
Yeah, super.
I wrote all the lines on that page, and you never see them.
Did you?
About a whole page of blank verse. Yeah.
Did you write them with an inky quill?
I wrote them with an inky computer.
What were on them then?
It was just the end of the play.
reveal an exclusive.
Simon Winston phoned me one day and said they need to see a few preceding lines.
What, finis?
No, the lines before
that, yeah.
the lines before the spooky speech.
It's actually
so I
quite
just-
difficult to shoot as well. That we had to reshoot the writing about 3 or 4 times to get it right.
We seem to do that a lot
They
on
did,
this show,
yeah.
don't
What
we?
concepts of-
Yeah,
Tiny
those
bits
little,
again.
yeah.
It's the pigeon again. Look, I'm very pleased about that pigeon.
So the word crystal was in there.
Yeah, that was always in it. That's the spooky
Yep.
speech, but the stuff
Yep.
before that on the page at the top, which you never see.
I think you should publish. I think
should.
we need a Gareth blog or something that's got the Shakespeare.
I'll send it into Doctor Who magazine.
How long did it take to get people into these prosthetics, Charlie?
I think it was 2 or 3 hours, and it's something that Gareth, our first assistant, was absolutely on top of weeks in advance, knowing how long it would take and scheduling accordingly.
Lovely shot.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
And that's beautiful as well.
Oh, poor old Dolly.
Yeah.
We're all caught up in a game, aren't we? I love all these literary references. I think you could have stuffed a couple more in. I'm never
Possibly.
happier than when I've got those. I'm just greedy, though.
There's only so many Shakespeare lines that everyone knows, though, I suppose. I think that was nearly all of them, wasn't it?
We could have had some more Dylan Thomas, couldn't we?
Yeah.
That's right. You could have flown the flag for Wales.
That's an idea for Series 4.
Or Dylan Thomas.
Dylan Thomas.
Oof.
That was good. Now, was that shot during the day or night?
This was shot. We went into the Globe after the show had come down at about 10:30 at night. It took us about an hour and a half, 2 hours to prepare it.
Yeah.
So it looked like it was.
But you see a little bit of sky there at the top. So was that,
and so we shot all night.
Yeah.
And then we did this at about 7 o'clock in the morning. And then
When everyone was really alert and awake.
Yeah.
I love the energy that David throws into these moments of the Doctor.
I love this speech here. Yes.
What an amazing location. I saw Titus Andronicus.
Oh, lucky you.
And do you know, it was really marvellous because in the grisly bits, the people standing up in the pit, the audience, were fainting.
Really?
Yeah, apparently it was happening every single night, which is, I guess, the physical exertion of standing up in a crowd for that length of time. Yeah. But literally, about 2-3 people were carried out the night I was there. I loved it. It just completely added to the whole experience.
I've always thought that was really silly, that play, but...
Well, it kind of is, because Sean Parks was in it, who, of course, had been in Doctor Who.
He was good in it as well, wasn't he? I saw that really good.
Did anyone faint when you saw it?
It was very hot, and people kept on trying to sit down, and these little old ladies come around and make you stand up. So I don't think so.
What, were you in the pit with the plebs?
No, we had it. They laid a nice box on for us. Yes, and sandwiches and everything.
How come? I was just upstairs on my own pound. This is what happens if you're a director. How have I not caught out with this?
I think they have quite a lot of problems at the Globe every year with summer fainting.
Do they?
And they,
Wow. Now, this was a pivotal scene.
Yeah, it really needed to be done.
We had endless discussions. Do you remember this, Charlie, about whether we could pull back on the CGI here? Because, as always with our episodes, we're pushing the CGI to the absolute limit, aren't we? Every single episode, we count our number of shots and the work for the male who do all our special effects. And this was always a big discussion about whether we could just do it with this little bit of wind or something bigger. And I'm thrilled we went bigger.
Yeah, I think it's...
You kind of need that shark attack moment to get you to the end. What was in the cauldron? How did you do that?
I think it was just kind of a very oily liquid and a bubble-making machine.
So there we go. The shot that was endlessly discussed and fought for.
And worth it, yeah.
I think you need it as well to sort of set up what's going to happen later.
This is lovely here as well.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I love these actors.
They're good, aren't they? These two. Really good.
Because we auditioned quite a few kind of posh, proper, kind of how you'd imagine Shakespeare actors to be, and this was much more interesting, wasn't it? They're such good value.
Also, they weren't posh at the time.
No, exactly, and that's what we were looking for. Where lots of people came in and did what they thought was right for the time.
But it is like mass entertainment, like the Doctor says, it was a big, big popular thing.
What, is this the Doctor Who of its time?
Shakespeare. Well, in a way, TV Centre, definitely the Globe of its time.
What, do you think Shakespeare would be writing for telly now?
Well, people always say that, don't they? They say they're writing for soaps. I'm not sure about that.
I love a good soap.
Yeah, I think he'd be doing comedies, probably.
Do you think?
Yeah, because comedies, when you sort of swat up on all the references, are really, really funny.
Newport Market, wasn't it? That
was it?
Right, really?
Yeah, underneath Newport Market.
It's great.
Hundreds of people standing outside waiting for David to come out.
We do so well with our locations. The scale of some of it. And
I could have played that part, the jailer.
Do you remember this whole...
That should have been me.
this whole sequence was rewritten a million times.
It was, yeah.
And how we did the death, do you remember, Charlie? We were going to have...
It was going to be incredibly complicated.
It was
Sucked
so
down into
complicated.
bed.
He was sucked down to a bed, was that
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And what were the problems of achieving that?
I think it was involving the mill and any effects, and it wouldn't the rig wouldn't fit into the cell either, and it was just we were all looking at each other with rather long faces, and so it got rewritten, and actually it works very well, doesn't it? I think
Because I remember our tone meeting, which is when we discuss all the elements and divide up all the work, and thinking, we're doing really well. We've only been in here for 20 hours, and we're halfway through. And then that
We got to
took
this.
such a long time. And
Yeah.
it's the small things that are sometimes harder. Oh, I love this actor.
Yeah, he's great. What do I know him from? Do we know? No?
Well, he's been in Australia. He's coming back because
is he
he's doing
good?
more and more work over here.
Is
He's
he?
terribly good, I think.
I was glad that we went slightly younger on the casting on that character. Oof.
That's a great shot.
And we had lots of discussions, didn't we, about whether they would all look witchy all the way through. And
Well, again, it was a scheduling thing. It was difficult to get them to Christina looking witchy all the time.
and then when we wanted to cast younger, we created that relationship, didn't we, of her parents, as it were, and her at that age. Those are obviously his natural teeth, aren't they? No work needed there. Look, perfect.
That was it. We asked him to shave his head, but he wouldn't, which was fair enough.
Oh, did we? I didn't know that.
He was shaven-headed in the script, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, poor guy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's...
How do you prep a scene like this, Charlie? Talk us through what you do. So you've got the script. How do you work out what shots you're going to do, or what?
Well, in fact, this scene, once the scenes that require the most preparation are the ones with the visual effects and the not prosthetics, but this scene was actually quite straightforward because although there's a witch and there's a death and things, it's really just a few people talking in a room.
Yeah.
So after working out, we cheated this location quite a lot. So it looks like, I hope, quite a big rambling place, but it was actually not a very big set. But after blocking how we were going to shoot the run of scenes there, what happened in this room was actually quite straightforward.
What took most of your thinking on this episode? Was it the climax?
It was the Globe.
Yeah.
It was the Globe and Warwick.
Right.
Because there was quite a bit of cheating going on there, and a lot of cheating, and we really had an awful lot to do there, and so it was all worked out in advance.
Right. What's the best thing about your job?
I was thinking about David again. I love working with good actors. It's just a joy.
And the worst?
Executive producers, I think. No, I don't think. I think sometimes on set it can be quite stressful.
It's very stressful.
But you must never show people that you're stressed out.
No, time can be very stressful.
It can be, but so sometimes it's quite stressful. But I mean this was a wonderful script and a kind of amazing opportunity. And again, to be able to do what we did was enormously satisfying.
I do think this episode is an extraordinary achievement from every single department.
I remember.
I'm so proud of this.
Well, no, good. Thank you.
I'm so pleased with how it's come out. It's amazing.
I'm pleased with how it's come out, and I remember going to the Globe at 7 o'clock in the morning before anyone was there, because I used to go along and they showed tourists around endlessly, and I used to go and sit there and try and work out how I was going to shoot it, and there'd be hundreds of tourists being shown. So I used to go there very early at 7 o'clock in the morning and think, how do I make this place look like it's got 3,000 people in it with 50 extras? And we did. We did. Yeah.
Gareth, what's the best thing about your job then, and the worst?
Oh, best thing is the excitement, really, of doing something that you like doing, really, and not having to go to school, as it were. Waking up in the morning and thinking, oh, that's nice, isn't it?
Is it stressful?
It can be, yeah. I tend to get stressed after I've submitted something, but I'm sure that's the same with everyone. While you're waiting for notes,
so
you know.
Horrible. This was quite a difficult section in the script, wasn't it? About how they split up and who goes where and the timing of it. We had lots of
was it day
debate
or night
about this and who got where when, and he was going to the Globe, but the Doctor and Martha were going to the witch's house.
Because, of course, we have the plays on at night in this, whereas that's not the case.
That never happened.
No. And we needed it for our CGI, didn't we?
That was it, wasn't it? You couldn't really do it during the day.
No, we couldn't. We couldn't.
And our Globe shoot. Though that wouldn't have mattered. It was more the...
It was the drama of it, I suppose, as well, really.
Yeah.
I think we felt it would look better at night as well.
Yes.
Visually, it would work better.
Completely.
So, Julia, I have to ask you, what's the best thing about your job and the worst thing about it? Because you've asked us.
Oh, well, the best thing is working with the people I get to work with. It's so varied. I mean, I work with brilliant people, endlessly fascinating people, and it's the variety of it that's the best thing. I don't know what the worst thing is. I think it's the, lack of time. There's never enough time. I mean, for all of us, everyone
it's the same thing for everyone,
the pace.
Yeah.
Everyone is running constantly.
Yeah.
But that's partly a great thing as well, because it's an adrenaline kick.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But you can't really get off it, can you? I mean,
that's the problem,
what's it
isn't
like for you, Charlie, when you've directed something, so you've been working, 20-hour days, 18-hour days, and then you're on a break for a month? Can you instantly switch into that, or is that?
It's quite. What's funny about what's quite funny is going from the set to the cutting room, and you're with, 50, 60, 80, 100 people on set around you all day, and you say there's very, very long hours, and then I go into the cutting room with the material and one other man, in this case Matthew, the editor, and that's quite strange to go from being around so many people to just me and him.
Do you love the edit?
I do. I think my favourite bit's the shoot.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it probably is.
Oh, my favourite thing, without question, is the final mix.
That too, yeah.
I mean, it's the obvious thing to say when everything comes together properly for the first time. I absolutely adore the final mix. So that where we do our music and our sound.
Yeah.
You've got all
when you finally see the finished thing for the first time. Yeah.
Because Murray Gold has done wonders with this, hasn't he?
He's extraordinary. Absolutely extraordinary. I mean, there's such beautiful cues.
The song at the beginning as well. Brilliant.
Now, this was a stressful day. So originally we were going to do a sword fight here between them. It wasn't really working and was horrible. And very fast rewrite. And this works incredibly well, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it was like he couldn't be do the kind of sexy bit rather than the sword fighting bit as a weapon against him.
I mean, this feels so much better, actually, because we had planned for that big sword fight. But actually, she's a witch, and of course she's going to behave in this way. And
also, I think it's good to have, like, one big climax in the Globe. Whereas I think if you got a sword fight before it, kind of...
Did you want a sword fight here?
I did want a sword
fight.
I had it all worked out.
Are you missing the sword fight?
I am missing the sword fight. I persuaded Phil Collinson to let me shoot it on film, which is quite unusual, apparently.
Oh, my Lord.
Well, I mean, you must have bewitched Phil.
I think
you must have had a little doll.
I actually think it got in under the radar.
I'm sure it did. I'll have words with him. I can't believe it.
And yes, and again, this was one of the things I'd worked out very carefully.
Because the doctor went over the edge, didn't he? That was the... He fell off. He fell out of the window and out onto the...
Yeah.
This feels more truthful as a witch, as I'd know.
She's terribly good, Christina, I think.
That's great.
That burst out the window is amazing.
And again, this sequence shot in about 3 or 4 different places.
Yeah, so this is a set build.
A green screen with a wire rig, and exterior was in Warwick, a plate shot in Warwick for All Hallows Street exterior.
Am I correct in thinking the witch's house is Sarah Jane Smith's attic?
Okay, yes, reveal our recycling.
Oh, sorry.
That is true. It has subsequently become Sarah Jane Smith's attic.
But you never know.
No, you'd never know.
No.
I mean, that's the beauty of having the 3 shows based in one place and, not wanting to waste material. We're very environmentally friendly, Gareth.
Yes, I was recycling now.
They're brilliant together, these two. How lovely.
It's got a different relationship, isn't it, on screen?
Were these bits difficult to write?
Fairly. I mean, what I tended to do was nick a bit from some other piece of blank verse from another play of the period and kind of sew them all together. Really, it's just a question of going ta-tum, 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 and just counting the syllables. And it's strange because the more you do of it, the easier it gets.
It's a super script, though, it really is.
Charlie, you're going to come back to us?
I'd love
Season
to.
4.
I'd absolutely love to.
Hooray, right, we've got him.
Yeah, but
we've got him. There we
There's
are.
something about this show.
There is. What do you think it is?
I don't know what... There was something... I said working on the TARDIS set and then rehearsing with David and Freeman, and he says, I'm the Doctor. And you think, he's great, he's the Doctor, this is great. I don't know what it is. This maybe...
It's an absolute magic, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's the people. Amazing people.
It's such a brilliant format.
Look at that shot! Look at those CGI people!
Yeah.
The Mill excelled themselves there.
Yeah. And they did all this from scratch, all that matte paintings and modelling and everything.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So some of this was shot at Upper Boat. The close-ups were shot at Upper Boat
because we didn't have enough time
in the studio,
to shoot everything at the
and
Globe.
the wide shots were done at the Globe.
I'd never have known that, you're saying.
Yeah. Is that quite scary, having to make those decisions?
Yes, it is. But on the other hand, it's a challenge. And I remember sitting with Phil Collinson on the stage at the Globe on the last night of this epic week we had in Warwick and thinking, well, we pulled it off, you know. And so Look at that.
That's amazing. Again, I think we had the twister over the globe and everything right at the very start, and how it was going to be defeated, yeah.
Do you remember we had endless discussions about how would the Doctor and Martha get into the theatre?
Oh, yeah, they were going to either climb
They were going to
side,
climb over the side, up the wall. You're like...
Come up through the trapdoor in one draft, yeah.
So many entrances for them.
But in the end, just come in through the back. It's easier,
Why were we...
They were going to come down on a wire.
Yes, they were.
Oh, completely. They were the biggest entrance ever. Yeah. What were we thinking? Because, Charlie, you would have had a bit more time, you know, the Globe, to do that, obviously.
Yes.
I think we had 6 hours shooting time at the Globe each night. I think that's what it...
And you were there for 3 nights?
Of night, yeah. To do, I think it was about 18 pages.
Oh.
Doesn't seem that much, Gareth, does it? Not much going on there. Amazing. Brilliant. Thank you.
That was quite difficult to write, that bit, because it had to get a plot point over.
Yes.
Whereas the other stuff, it was kind of window dressing in the fake play, whereas that actually needed to be understandable and
also you want all 3 of them to be involved in this climax moment, which they are, beautifully.
It's... That's great. That one.
So that was shot not at the Globe. All those close-ups.
The close-ups. There was a couple was shot, but most of this was done in the studio. This was all done in the studio. Yeah.
That so sells it, doesn't it?
Again, I saw the script and I thought, how are we going to do that? It's never going to work.
I just thought, I don't know what goes through your head as a writer when you're doing those things like that. You just think, oh, they'll have a wind machine and throw a bit of paper in the air.
Yeah, well, yeah. Bit of straw.
Yeah.
Bit of straw, yeah.
I don't know why we make it so complicated sometimes. Gareth, have you thought about directing?
Oh, well, yeah. Not after comments like that, no. I don't think I could cope with TV and all the complicated technical stuff.
Aw, rock and roll Shakespeare. Hooray.
All the other players must have been scared to come out at the end. I love this bit, actually.
Well,
I don't know why. It's just one of those sort of big Doctor Who scary sort of exciting moments.
That it's such a good conclusion that you know everything's been thought of. There's a proper conclusion to where they've gone. I like that.
They're sort of trapped back in there, and the others are in deep darkness.
Hooray for a matte painting.
Yeah, that's lovely. That's Nonsuch House there on the bridge.
I love this scene.
Well, it was like Shakespeare's jokes are really unintelligible, aren't they, really, generally?
I love this scene. It's very smart, and I think it's one of Murray Gold's finest cues when they start talking. When he starts talking about travelling in time in the future, it's beautiful without those voices coming in. She did kiss him on a couple of drafts.
She did, yeah. I thought it was going to burst out the trap door then.
That's right.
We were obsessed by the trap door for a bit, weren't we?
Just as their lips locked, it would go BAM!
Oh, Gareth, why did we take that away? Marvellous.
Good gags. So many good gags.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we've got the Sycorax reference in.
Yes, yeah, which had to be done.
And that's true, the real lost play.
Yeah, not a sign of it.
You're educating the nation, Gareth.
Yeah. They'll get out one day in about 20 years' time.
How do you shoot that, Charlie? The witches in...
that was done on a green screen stage again. In fact, it was actually done by a second unit, that. It wasn't done by me.
Do you know, I thought it was very good.
It's a visual effects unit. It obviously stands out, doesn't it, you see? We did it lots of different ways, because, again, if you give the mill a few choices, they can work out.
And this was in it from the beginning as well, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah. It's just too good to resist.
Yeah. That's Angela Pleasance, isn't it?
Angela Pleasance, yeah.
Fantastic.
I love the way she says doctor. So back in Warwick.
Yeah. Again, after staying up all night. This is great.
Well done.
Lovely.
I should remember this, but is the arrow still in the TARDIS door? We wanted that, didn't we?
I think we had 2 goes at it, I think, and the man was a professional archer. He was very good. Hit it exactly in the right spot.
Wow.
Charlie, Gareth, thank you very much.
Thank you.
A
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you. Wonderful work. And come back soon.
We will.
We will.
We've got you on tape now. That's it. The deal is done.